Just want to put up a video response to my friend Bill, aka the Snarky Apologist, formerly of MCO for Help. He is putting up a video right now about how Kelly from Howdy There Sir, how she's basically misrepresenting Justin Martyr on a bunch of Justin's theology pieces, and he's pretty much you know, shown Justin's true theology on many things. I want to address the notion that Kelly from Howdy There Sir had said that, based on a Justin Martyr quote, the majority of the Christians of Justin's time believed in a human-only Jesus, who denied that he was pre-existent, denied that he was Yahweh, Jehovah. And it's based on a quote found in Dialogue with Trypho, chapter 48. Reading the quote real fast, there are some, my friends, I said, of our race who admit that he is the Christ while holding him to be man of men, with whom I do not agree, nor would I, even though most of those who have now the same opinions of myself should say so. Now, who is Justin talking about here? His friends who hold that Christ is man of men, and not Jehovah, and not pre-existing. Well, let's take a look. Chapter 47, he talks about, here's the title of chapter 47, Justin communicates with Christians who observe the law. Not a few Catholics do otherwise. What Justin's talking about here in this chapter, he's talking with Trypho, a Jewish guy, a Jewish rabbi, about how a lot of Jewish Christians, I guess, at his time, keep the law. And Justin really kind of writes them off saying, you know, I don't agree with it, they're misled, but, you know, I consider them my Christian brothers. That's fine with me. Justin was kind of in the majority at the time. I believe that in 106, 107, Ignatius was writing sharply against Judaizers, and people observed the Sabbath. I forget the exact quote, but and most Christians at Justin's time did not consider them real Christians. Now, he goes on, he says, but if Trypho, I continued, some of your race who say they believe in this Christ compel the Gentiles who believe in this Christ to live in all respects according to the law given by Moses, or choose not to associate so intimately with them, I, in like manner, do not approve of them, but I believe that even those who have been persuaded by them to observe these legal dispensations along with their confession of God in Christ shall probably be saved. I further hold that such have confessed and known this man to be Christ, yet have gone back to some of the legal dispensation and have denied that this man is Christ, and have repented not before death, shall by no means be saved. Alright, now Justin is talking about people who, you know, Jewish people who believe that Jesus is the Christ, but insist that all Christians, Jews, Gentiles, whatever, keep the law. And he's like, I'm not loud about these people. I still think that they're Christians, though. That's him. That's kind of Justin's 2 cents worth there. Now, who Justin is talking about in chapter 47 are the Ebionites. That is a heretical Judaizing sect. Irenaeus talks about them in Against Heresies. Now, the Ebionites were not exactly friends to human Jesus theologians today. They're certainly not friends to Trinitarians, not friends to Arians, not really even friends to Muslims. They were kind of just their own screwball sect. Just a couple things about the Ebionites. The Ebionites denied Paul was an apostle. They thought he was an apostate. They denied that Jesus was born of a virgin, which, you know, they'd almost be friends to Muslims, but they denied the virgin birth. And yeah, they kept the law left and right. And yeah, as such, they denied that Jesus was God, and they denied that Jesus was even pre-existed, that he was just the Christ. Now, that kind of provides a backdrop of what Justin's talking about in chapter 48. There are some, my friends, of our race who admit that he is Christ while holding him to be man of men, even with whom I would not agree, nor would I, even though most of those who now have the same opinions as myself should say so. Alright, so here's this $24,000 question. Did Justin, by saying that, mean that the majority of people who held his opinion should say so? Well, let's see. I'll first point out it says some of our race, in other words, some Gentiles. Well, there are some manuscripts that read some of your race. This is according to the Philip Schaff footnote in Philip Schaff's translation, and it says referring to the Ebionites. Moranus believes, another patristic scholar, that the references to the Ebionites, and supports in a long note the reading are, inasmuch as Justin would likely consider to associate these Ebionites with Christians more than Jews, even though they were heretics. So that's who he's talking about there, the people who denied that Jesus had a pre-human existence. You know, it's the opinion of Schaff and Moranus that the people he's talking about were Ebionites. Now he proceeds to say about the Norwood, about the whole with whom I do not agree, nor would I, even though most of those who have now the same opinions as myself should say so. Now, Justin is saying, nor would I approve of them, even though most of those who have the same opinions as myself should say so. Now, about that quote, he's basically saying that even if the majority of people who hold his opinion that Christ did pre-exist as Yahweh, even if those people would change their opinions, he wouldn't approve of them. Now, nor would I, that implies a future event, even though, remember, this is an older English dialect with Philip Schaff and a lot of patristics translators, so even though is pretty much exchangeable with if in an older English vernacular. Most of those who have the same opinions of myself, that Christ pre-existed as God, should say so. Now, I also want to point out that actual quote is, there's more than one translation to the Greek of that quote, and Schaff points out that Langus translates it, nor would indeed many who are of the same opinion of myself say so. So, this quote by no means proves that the majority of the Christians of Justin's time deny that Jesus had a pre-human existence. Even granting that they did, at best there was a brief window between 106 and 180 that the majority of Christians denied that Jesus was God, and that belief kind of went away. Now, why do I say between 106 and 180? Well, I mean, read Ignatius's epistles. Read the Middle Recension, by the way, which scholars consider the most authentic. All over the place, Ignatius is talking about my God Jesus Christ, generate and ingenerate, our God Jesus Christ, who raised himself from the dead, who did this, that, and the other thing. All kinds of high Christology, and this is as early as 106. And I'll also point out a lot of that high Christology comes from his epistle to the Ephesians, where Justin was writing at the time of the dialogue with Trypho and communicating. That's where he went to church. And I say 180 because if you read Irenaeus's Against Heresies, you'll see nowhere does he talk about Gentile Christian heretics who believe that Jesus is just a man and didn't have a pre-human existence. He writes about the Ebionites, he writes about all kinds of other people. So, really, alright, this belief that Jesus was just a man, at best, might have, been around for a couple, maybe a couple decades during the middle of the the second century, and at most likely it was an idea that came up with the Ebionites. And these are no friends to anyone who professes Christ today. So, there's my response.